Thanks for joining us. I'm Sam Shocker, and we are just hours from our next winter weather advisory. Some parts of the metro could see more than 6 inches of snow. We could start seeing the snow as early as late this afternoon, and as usual, the mountains will get snow first, but looking at our live camera at the tunnels, doesn't look like any flakes have fallen just yet. Let's talk about the timing of this latest storm with Keely Chalmers from our 9 News Weather Impact team. Keely, will this be weather for my kids to go sledding tomorrow afternoon?
Oh, possibly, and we could see some delayed school starts tomorrow as well. Yeah, good 3 to 6 inches expected in and around the metro area. The higher accumulation certainly to the west and to the south, but we could seriously be waking up to about 3 inches here in the metro tomorrow morning. And here is a look at your weather impact alert. So again, starts about 5 o'clock today, goes through 9 a.m. tomorrow. We're looking at, again, 3 to 6 inches of snow even here in the metro. Higher accumulations once again to the west and to the south. So making for some tricky driving conditions starting with your commute tonight. That snow moving in after about 3 o'clock. We're not going to start seeing moderate to heavy snow until after about 5 o'clock. But again, that could impact your evening commute and certainly making for some slick driving conditions tomorrow morning as well. 19 degrees at DIA right now. Factor in the winds. It feels like it's 10. It is chilly when you consider the wind chills out across the eastern plains. 0 at Ray. That's what it feels like. 3 below in Burlington. Again, we've got that afternoon snow after about 3 o'clock. We're looking at 3 to 6 inches overnight. Temperatures topping out before that right around 30 degrees. We're already seeing the snow move in over I-70 across the mountains up in the northeast as well. So we will keep tracking that as it moves to the east. Cold, that tops our weather headlines once again today. That Arctic air mass finally eroding. Snow tomorrow, but warmer this weekend. Actually, we're talking about temperatures climbing into the 60s by next week. More on that coming up in your full forecast in just a bit.
Keely, thank you. New at noon, the Douglas County Sheriff's Office says 6 more people have been arrested in connection to a shooting that happened at a Highlands Ranch arcade earlier this month. This brings the total number of people arrested to 7. The initial shooting happened on February 8th at the main event on Centennial Boulevard, and Nevaeh Crowley-Sanders is accused of shooting another woman in a bathroom inside. Deputies say she fired off as many as 10 shots before leaving the business. Investigators say they tracked down the additional 6 suspects after reviewing surveillance video and speaking with witnesses that were there that night. 2 of them are facing counts of attempted first-degree murder. The other 4 are looking at charges ranging from assault to tampering with evidence and disorderly conduct. The sheriff's office says all of them were booked and have since been released on bond. Right now, a jury is deciding whether former Clear Creek County Deputy Andrew Buin is guilty or innocent or of second-degree murder. He's been tried for a second time for the shooting death of Christian Glass. Buin was one of several officers who responded when Glass called 911 in June of 2022 after he got his SUV stuck on a boulder. Prosecutors argue Buin's conduct that night created the problems and that he was so determined to get Glass out of the car, he broke the window, shot him with beanbag rounds, a taser, then shot him 5 times in the chest. Buin's defense team argues that Buin saw Glass swing a knife in the direction of another officer and was justified in using deadly force. When the jury returns the verdict, we will, of course, bring you the decision on air and online. The former CBI analyst facing more than 100 felony counts for allegedly manipulating data is scheduled to be in court this afternoon. It will be a preliminary hearing for Missy Woods, which is when a judge will hear evidence to decide whether there's enough for a trial. Not only are CBI scientists having to review decades worth of Woods' cases, they're also retesting many of them at $3 million cost. A restaurant and music spot in Denver says it's been hit once again with its 3rd robbery in just over a year. Roxy Broadway posted this photo to its Instagram account saying 2 thieves stole copper wiring this week. One of them was wearing a t-shirt with security written across the back. The Roxy's last break-in was in January last year when someone went through all their food and damaged their Excel box. The suspect in that case also tried burning a recycling container in the back of the building. The venue had to temporarily close while repairing everything there. It is the height of tax season, but we expect to learn of thousands of IRS layoffs today. The AP reports 7,000 probationary employees are expected to lose their jobs. It will largely include workers who make sure people abide by the tax code. pay taxes, and file their returns, but have only been on the job for a year at most. But we learned about an hour ago that nearly 250 TSA employees are now out of a job. They were workers who had performance and conduct issues. And new since 9 News Mornings, Republican Senator Mitch McConnell, the longest-serving Senate party leader in history, will not seek re-election next year. The former Senate Majority and Minority Leader turns 83 years old today and has served in Washington since 1984. But he's dealt with a series of medical problems in recent years, including injuries from falls and times where he seemingly froze while speaking. McConnell will serve out the rest of his term, which ends January 2027. And as of now, Highway 93 near Golden is still closed to traffic after a multi-vehicle crash earlier this morning. Colorado State Patrol responded just after 6 a.m. to 4 vehicles that crashed on northbound Highway 93 near 56th Avenue. 2 people had to be taken to a hospital, but we do not know the extent of their injuries. CSP also has not said what led to those crashes. As aviation investigators continue to look into the last several plane crashes that have happened recently, there are many concerns about safety. But 9 News' Courtney Yoon has been looking into that data.
Hearing what seems like a string of recent aviation disasters in the sky can be really concerning, but I recently spoke with an aviation expert who says air travel is still one of the safest modes of transportation. Now, in the last month, we've been talking about at least 4 major aviation mishaps. On Monday, a flight heading from Minneapolis to Toronto ended upside down on the runway. 80 people survived. A couple weeks ago, a commercial plane and an Army helicopter collided near D.C., where 67 people died. But when I talked to Chad Kendall, he told me the data does not indicate a rise in serious accidents. Kendall is an MSU Denver aviation professor, FAA chief instructor, and has been flying for nearly 30 years. Statistics from the National Transportation Safety Board show there may have been a record low number of airplane accidents nationwide just last month. There were 63 fatal or non-fatal crashes in January this year, compared to 80 last year and 89 in 2023. If the numbers hold, 63 is the lowest number of crashes in a single month since 1982, according to data available right now on the NTSB website. 10 of those 63 crashes were fatal, and only 1 involved a commercial airline. Overall, NTSB's data shows a trend of crashes declining over the years. Kendall says investigations could take a year or longer to find out what happened in these most recent incidents.
We go through a process and we determine what happened, and then we make changes, whether that's changes to training, technology, procedures, communication. There's nothing off the table when it comes to safety.
Kendall says with these most recent crashes, it's important to remember your responsibilities as a passenger on a plane. He says always know where the nearest emergency exits are, dress for the weather that you're traveling in, and always listen to instructions from the cabin crew. At DIA, Courtney Yoon, 9 News.
Breaking news, an Adams County deputy was shot during a standoff in Brighton. That's according to the sheriff's office. This is on East 160th Avenue, across the street from the King Soopers there. A shelter in place has been in place in the area for a little over an hour. The sheriff's office says during SWAT entry into the residence, the suspect shot at deputies, hitting one of them in the hand. They're being treated for non-life-threatening injuries, and we have a crew on the way, and we'll bring you more information once we get it.